everybody, George Kenner. I'm going to try something just a little bit new here on the channel. It's going to be what I call an unedited presentation. So many times everything is so choreographed that you can't really tell from the individual if they're being truthful. You know, if you take out the bad parts, you know, it's maybe just not quite as honest. So I'm also going to reach out to everyone and I'm going to ask them to help me. And that's really a little bit unusual. I'm a laser addict. And if I had realized that lasers were this addictive and that one would lead to another, I'd start with a $1,000 diode and end up with a $30,000 CO2 and another fiber laser, and that I'm now in the market for a UV. UV, and I've had some experience, are undoubtedly, in my opinion, the best way to engrave glass. I recently had an exchange with somebody a couple months ago, and they were talking about, well, if you engrave with a CO2 machine using an orange peel type material, and then you hit it with a sandblaster, you would get the best results. Well, here's the reality. This is a commercial venture for the most part when people start engraving glass. Time is of the essence. If you can get an equal result with a laser, pulling the glass out of the box and putting it in and not having all those touch points, it means more money. I have found that as I've retired, my time is even more valuable than it was when I was an executive working. So what I have done is I've tried to do everything that I possibly could to make my time the most efficient. I travel with my girlfriend, I go see my mom, you know, I spend time on my YouTube channel and in my Facebook group, Laser Freedom. So what I decided was I want to be able to engrave glass. Now this is interior engraving and a special type of glass. These were sent to me by the company that I am considering purchasing their laser. It's XLaserLab. They're out of China. Now, one of the things that I always do when I'm considering buying something that's, you know, multi-thousand dollars, I kind of research the customer service. And I don't care about what somebody else says. I reach out to them and I ask them a question and see if they respond. Not only did XLaserLab respond, I told them a little bit about myself. They sent me these blocks and they've made them available for me to give them away in Laser Freedom Group. Now, in looking at these, I've learned a little bit about this. And before I go further, I have a website called laserfreedom.us. All of the research that I have done to purchase one of these machines, and if you think I'm buying the wrong machine or the wrong manufacturer, put it down in the comments. Laser Freedom, my Facebook group, was all built based upon the idea that it was not manufacturer driven. How are you going to get the best information if you only listen to one source? Now, the only person I trust explicitly in my life, and I have my eye on her, is my mom. Everybody else, my brother and sister, hey, look, everybody, you verify what they say. Anything that I've said, please verify it. I'm a laser addict. I'm not a laser expert. Some people call me a laser expert. Man, will I push that away? No, more times than not, I will. This is actually something that I engraved. It says, I lost my balls in Yuma as a golfer on the side. This went crazy. I had somebody order 35 of these for a New Year's party several years ago. I only charged them for the glass. I don't charge for the stuff that I do. I don't want to turn this into a business, but I really love these lasers. If I ever did decide to turn it into a business, and who knows, maybe I will, I've got all the machinery to go set up instantly and have a professional engraving shop. So, UV, there's two types of machines out there on the market that I have seen. One is an open frame, kind of like the most common fiber laser, where there's a tower, a platform, and the laser comes out, and it's open. When I saw my first UV laser blast, I'm telling you, you wanted protection goggles. That thing is bright when you're going into glass. So a contained system, which is what the XLaserLab E3 is, seem to be most effective. One of the things I learned, a 5 watt is not as strong as a 10 watt, thus not as fast. And it doesn't give quite the same effect because you don't have the range of wavelength of the laser. So what I've been holding out for is a 10 watt. Well, XLaserLabs has one that is contained and 10 watt. It's in Kickstarter phase right now. When I bought my CO2 laser, my first CO2 laser, I actually went to Melbourne, Florida to Eon Laser, and they had everybody else's machines. I tested them before I bought. I ended up developing a relationship with them and became a partner. I've since ended that. Not because there's anything wrong with Eon. I love that company. I love the people. I still think that they have the best lasers. But there's so much in the marketplace where you can't trust anybody. They come out and say, oh, it works this way, it works that way. And what's really working is a couple of % kickback that they get. I've had people that I've seen, they've been with one company, another company, and the companies aren't so slick either. I know one company, they have in all their advertising a big sign on their building. Guess what? Go to their building, no sign. I documented that. So to me, that's a trust factor. So I look at things, one laser company came out and they made fun of the drive system that's on the Eon. Guess what? A year and a half later, they're selling lasers, calling it their best, with the same belt drive system, not a top rail system. So that's why I'm saying I need your help. If you've got some information that I'm not going to share here or is not on Laser Freedom, please let me know. But at this point in time, based upon a video I saw, XLaserLabs is actually a manufacturer. They have a manufacturing facility. When I shared with them that I had a YouTube channel, they invited me to come to China and see their facility. You think they'd do that if they didn't really have a facility? They have I think it's called the X3. Anyhow, I'll put a link down in it and it'll be on the site. They have a laser cleaning and welding system that they sell. It looks a lot like one of the X tools. Now, in their Kickstarter, and I'm just trying to share the information that comes to my mind, on the Kickstarter, X Tool has one of these lasers that is a 5 watt. XLaserLabs, 10 watt faster machine. Around the same price. Why would I not get this machine? That's a question for you down in the comments. Am I committed to this? Absolutely. See these spheres? You can do spheres with this. You put it in a special liquid, and that allows you to maintain what's called a plane so that you can engrave down into these balls. I thought so much and I want one of these so bad, I decided here's the first stage commitment. Buy some of the blanks. Now these were not really that expensive. I think this was about $6. But when I was in the mortgage industry, everybody wanted to know where the rates were. I actually had a crystal ball and I say, look into the crystal ball and tell me, wouldn't it be kind of funny if you had one of these and you said rates and then put an arrow in it up and down? Do you think you could sell a couple of those? There's so many things that can be done with glass. If I were to go into business right now, would I go out and buy the lasers in the same order that I did? Probably not. I'd probably start with UV. You can, and I'm setting up right now, as you can tell, I feel like a Japanese kid in a Tokyo apartment where every square inch matters. I just built a special wood caddy for this room. I have more that I've got to do, but I want the UV laser. It's going in the house. I have a small filtration system. I have a big table that was mostly used just to do paperwork at. It's going to have my UV laser and my 3D printer sitting on it. Those are both very clean devices, especially when you're only using it for glass. Now, UV will also engrave into wood and give you 3D relief without burning. It's called a cold laser. If anybody's done anything like that or see a commercial application, down in the comments, I want to know. You can also write to me at laserfreedom.us. You can go in and enter to get one of these for free. Look, they sent me 1, 2, 3, 4, they sent me about 12 of them. I'll probably give them away in 2 swipes. And if somebody really is considering the machine and they want one of them, you let me know, I'll send it to you. It's my understanding that the better the model that you have and the more data points that there are on it, the better result you're going to get. I've even seen pictures done with these. You can make trophies. There's so much you can do. You can also do, because it's a cold laser system, you can do on silicone. As a matter of fact, if you look at your milk container, and down at the bottom, you'll see a date and barcode. That was put on by a UV laser. UV laser is just now becoming relatively affordable, and in a closed format where you're protected from the light. I can see where a lot of these are going to end up in jewelry stores. I mean, really expensive jewelry stores. Can you imagine if you had a glass, like a wine flute, and you could put, you know, Mabel and Bill, and then the date on the glass? It brings them into the jewelry store. There's so many things you can do. I've already started saving up glass. You can take and get a bourbon bottle, and there's a bunch of them out there in the $25 range. The bottle seems to be worth 10 bucks. You could take the label off, drink the booze. I've done that a couple of times. And then engrave it. You could take a beer bottle, and I put this on YouTube when I started with my diode laser. I took a dollar symbol that was really fancy and put on the back, happy birthday, took a capper and put it on. You now have a product. How much did the bottle cost? Empty beer bottle. There's so much you can do when you have the speed and the clarity of a UV. I'm not coming into this blind. I did start doing my research on these quite a while. The company where I first saw the UV was EMP Laser. The fantastic machine, fantastic company. Just they've got the open format, and I don't want that, and I want to do it in my house. Their platform was just a little bit bigger. Let's do a comparison. Have you done a cloud ray? What have you done? Tell me down in the comments. Tell me if you're happy with these machines and which one you would buy. I do think, my girlfriend's gonna be gone right after the first of the year. I'm really looking at CES, the Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas, and maybe going to see these guys. It would be so much better to be able to see the machine function before you buy, but I'll lose the Kickstarter money. Kickstarter has got a little bit of a special benefit to it. Which is better? Should I wait or should I Kickstarter it? I'm really up in the air. What else have you used your UV on? So I know it'll do wood. I know it'll do most plastics. I know it'll do acrylic. I have some really thick acrylic I did on my CO2 laser and made a trophy for somebody that was retiring from law enforcement. It came out great. The person that I made it in conjunction with, a retired agent, he doesn't want to do, he's like me. He just wants to enjoy working and traveling, doing things like that. But people were all over him. Where do I get one of these? How do you do this? I need this with my name on it. That's so cool. What else have I been doing? We had a giveaway on Laser Freedom for some epoxy, I think 1.5 gallons of magic resin. I did a video on magic resin. It was similar to this. I did all of the research and I found out that most epoxies come from the same refiner. There was one big company, they don't even have a chemist that works for them, but they're supposed to be the best. They're all over the internet. I found out that they have an affiliate program. You go to a woodworker that uses their epoxy. If you buy it, they make like 20 bucks off of a gallon of epoxy. I'm not into that. I want everybody to get the best that they can. So I went into Amazon because this is available through the website or Amazon. And I bought some epoxy called magic resin. This is part of the magic resin system that I did. I'm going to start turning lathes. I just got to start turning bowls. I just got a new jet lathe. I'm going to put that on there. At the end of the video, I'll put a couple of pictures, short video of a table that I made with this stuff. I think I'm going to move so much of what I do in the shop is making templates for the woodworking that I do. I want my tables to line up perfectly. I want the table legs to be the same distance apart. All you have to do is make a template on the CO2 laser. That's why I got it. I want to be multidisciplined. I can see where something like this put into a turned lathe is an urn for a pet with the pet's picture in this, invaluable. I know some people that would really, really like to have one of those. You know, there's a lot of us out there that like our pets more than we like our spouse. But just don't hold me to that. If you've got any questions, please, I'd love to have your comments. If you like this format video, please let me know. If you think it's trash, let me know too. I'll pull it down. I wish you all the best. Get out in your garage and make something. You'd be surprised what you can do if you have a little patience and you're not afraid of failure. Being afraid of failure, everybody fails. I failed my driving test 3 times before I got my license the first time. Hey, it's life. It is what it is. My brother and sister won't believe that I gave that up, but it's the truth. Have a good day. Take care.